Well, hello, everybody. I just wanted to do a quick update on what's going on in Israel and what I think might be happening in the next week to months. So, we talked a little bit at one point about the red heifers, and there are, from my understanding, three left that are feasible to be used for the cleansing ceremony. And they don't ever age out, but anybody with livestock knows that it's very easy for an animal to get injured and get a scar, and that would make them not deemed appropriate for the ceremony. So I do think that time is of essence for this. And even when we saw the October 7th invasion by Hamas, they cited the red heifers as a reason that they did it, and they called it the Alaska flood, and they wanted to prevent the red heifers from being used in the cleansing ceremony so that the temple could never be built. And the temple can be built, but it can't be used if nothing can be cleansed and considered purified for the, that's what the red heifers is all about. And if you want more information on the red heifers, Mondo Gonzalez has written a book and he just updated it. And then in Numbers in the Bible is where the original text for the red heifers is. So that's still going on. We have Purim coming up next week, and Purim is a ceremony to celebrate when Ruth prevented Hamas from eradicating all the Jews. And Hamas had built a gallows and he was going to hang Mordecai, which was her uncle, I believe. And Ruth went against the typical protocol and went in to see her husband and asked for a favor. And he, instead of killing her, gave her the favor, and that ended up being the death of Hamas in his own gallows, and the Jews were saved. And so that's what Purim's all about. And if you want to, again, more information on it, the best source is the Bible, not me, and that is the Book of Ruth, and it's a beautiful story. And so that's next week, and on Purim, there's going to be a full lunar eclipse, which will make the moon blood red. And Jesus talked about signs in the heavens, and many think that this is definitely a sign in the heaven of a red moon on or blood moon on appointed Moedim or holiday. Um, and it could be, I don't know. Purim is definitely an important day for the Jewish Hebrew people, but it is not a biblical um, holiday or Moedim, as it was not laid out by God, nor was Hanukkah. Both are very important. Hanukkah celebrates when they only had enough oil for one day, and it lasted, I think, 8 days. So they celebrate very important times in Israeli Hebrew history. But the Moedims that God laid out have to do with the spring feast and the fall feast, which would be, Passover and unleavened bread and first fruits and Pentecost. And then in the fall, it would be Rosh Hashanah, and which is the Feast of Trumpets, and then Tabernacles, which is Sukkot, and oh boy, I'm going blank. The one in between that, which is, um, I'm going blank. Anyways, those are the ones, the Moedims that God set out, just like the Sabbath is a Moedim or an appointed time with God. However, I do think it's significant that the red moon is happening on that day. And when you look at the historical Jewish calendar was based on the moon, and then they went more to a secular calendar like we use, which is based on the sun. But the Muslim people still very much believe in a lunar calendar and do everything by that. And so, one rabbi was saying that because they follow the lunar calendar even more so than the Jews, that this is a warning sign to them from God. And that the fact that it's going to be over North America and Europe and stuff, it's a warning sign to us as well. And it could be, I don't know. But some interesting things that I just wanted to kind of throw out there, and you guys do with it what you want. This is what President Trump has to say. He says, interesting days ahead on Iran front. Something will happen very, very soon. Trump said he prefers peace deals, but other options, military actions, would solve the problem. Dramatic moments coming up for Iran's nuclear project. And Emir Safardi just came out and said that the International Nuclear Commission says that Iran has enough for 6 bombs. And they also have the missile capacity and drone capacity to get those nuclear weapons to Europe, to the United States, and for sure to Israel. So that's very concerning. Um, and they don't follow normal, typical rules. They do as they please and when they please, and they don't have any concern about anybody else. I mean, anybody that's not them is an infidel and deserves to die. So that's kind of their worldview. So the fact that this is all happening, and it says the U.S. and Israel prepare to take on Hamas and Iran together. And then, let's see, there was one other thing. Where was that? Okay, so the Jerusalem Post reported earlier this week that Israeli officials estimate that no agreement was reached between Israel and Hamas, and it has not. Hamas refuses to agree to anything except Israel leaving the Gaza Strip, and that's just not going to happen. That in about a week and a half, next weekend is Purim. On that first day, the new IDF chief of staff, Ayal Zamir, told heads of local councils from the Gaza border communities that we are preparing to return to fight in Gaza, and we intend to defeat Hamas. And this time it's going to be faster and quicker. So that's quite interesting. And then there was another, Keegan Fernandez. If you don't follow him, he is on Telegram, and he is a watchman on the wall and a man of God. And he did some study on the original text of the book of Ruth and in some other things. And so this is what he writes. The prophetic rabbit trail continues. This could get very exciting next week. Jeremiah 49:38 is even more telling. Then I will set my throne in Elam and destroy out of it Elam, Iran, king and princes, declares the Lord. So he's going to put his throne in Iran, which is Elam. Strong's Lexicon for my throne, which is 3678 in verse 38 in Hebrew, is kiss. This exact Hebrew word is only used once in the Bible, found in that scripture, Jeremiah 49:38. And it's regarding Elam and all things. The word's origin, kissi, is from the same word as keseh, which has a definition of full moon. The full moon, blood moon eclipse, occurs on Purim this year. It begins at sundown March 13th, which is a Friday, if you're superstitious at all, and ends at sundown March 14th. So I did a search and the full moon appointed time. The word appointed time in Hebrew is moed, or moedim is plural. And it means meeting, appointed time, and it can also be appointed sign. So appointed sign equals full moon. So continuing with that, the full moon appointed time, I came across the word kes. Definition, full moon appointed time sign is found under the word has sworn in Exodus 17:16, and it again is only found once, primarily meaning the full moon associated with appointed time signs in the Hebrew calendar. And so if you look at when God lays out his Moedim or his holidays, they tend to start like at the beginning of a new moon or the beginning of a full moon, and it takes 2 or more people to see the sign before that day is considered. Okay, so will God's hand be upon the throne of Iran, with Israel attacking Iran on Purim on the appointed time of the full moon, and his appointed sign, the blood red moon in the sky? And he's just asking a question. And then he goes on to say that Hamas insists on a complete withdrawal, and that's not going to happen. And and that's the only way they're going to return their hostages. And there's, I think, 40 some odd hostages left, and they're saying half of them are alive. I find that hard to believe. I think they're all dead. They wouldn't have brought back dead bodies before they brought back live bodies. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, and then the fact that they brought back a body that wasn't even the body it was supposed to be, and then they produced that body later. I mean, the whole thing is just a mess. Okay, so anyways, that's just kind of crazy. And Netanyahu tells the IDF to prepare for immediate return to Gaza fighting, and this time it's going to be fast and swift. And this time the U.S. is going to be supporting them. So we must defeat Hamas, says their new IDF chief, and we are prepared to resume fighting. The hostages are our top priority. And then I read what President Trump said: the U.S. and Israel prepared to take on Hamas and Iran together. And then I told you what Amir had to say. So it's interesting, because I've thought that Iran has had nuclear weapons for a long, long time. And, they kept saying close, close, and another week, and another month, and another week, and another month, blah, 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 blah. And now they're saying that they have enough nuclear bomb for 6 full, bombs. And that doesn't surprise me. And I know that they also have the technology from Russia and China in their own works, and even North Korea, to launch that nuclear threat. So, Israel has always said that they're not going to allow them to have a nuclear weapon, and now they have 6. So, I mean, the writing's on the wall. And I don't think President Trump's messing around. He's not Biden. He is not a friend of Iran's. He does, when Iran says, Israel's a little Satan and the U.S. is a big Satan, Trump's listening. And Iran made a threat on his life personally. So, he's not going to mess around. And him and Netanyahu have known each other a long time, first as business partners and then as leaders of the world. And Netanyahu fought in the military. He's not like our leaders that are pansies for the most part. I'm sorry to say it, but they really are. They're politicians, they're liars, they're cheaters. They've never built anything. They've never fought for their country. Most of the whiners out there have never fought for their country. And so they don't know what it's like. They don't have that heart. They don't have a servant's heart. They don't have a heart for this country. And it changes things. So what does that all mean to us? I would say be alert, have your head on a swivel, be prepared, because don't forget we've had documented 10 million, which means probably closer to 20 to 30 million people from over 190 countries come in here, and a lot of them are fighting age, men. And I have said for 10 years that the people coming across the border are coming here for nefarious reasons. They're foot soldiers, and they're getting planted all around just to sit and wait. You can call them cells, you can call them whatever you want to call them. It doesn't really matter, but they are not here to serve the U.S. They're here to take the U.S. down. And they're everywhere. They're in every state, they're in every major city, and they're here to cause chaos, and they're here to do bad stuff. And so just be prepared. I don't know how it's going to go down. I'm not scared. And I'm not scared because God's going to protect me. Shoot, I'm probably a bigger threat to myself than somebody else is to me. If the truth be known, I mean, uh, so that's just the way it is. So I just wanted to update you and let you know what was going on a more international front. You know, we still have that mess in Ukraine going on, and it's not done. And China is, kind of beating its war drums and saying, we're not going to succumb to any tariffs, but we're going to be free to put tariffs on the U.S. And we want all our, we want to be able to pollute the world all we can, and we want all the assistance we can, and we want to be, um, given extra money to do things because we're still a up and coming country. We haven't succeeded yet, but we're a world power and we're going to take you out. Can't have it both ways. And we've been supporting them far too long. They are world power now. We don't need to be giving them breaks. They don't care about us. They want to destroy us too. If the truth be known, Turkey wants its dynasty back, the Ottoman Empire. Iran wants its Persian Empire back. Russia wants its Russian Empire back. China wants its, dynasties back. The U.S. doesn't want to give up its role as the leader of the free world, and Europe wants, to be in control under the old Roman Empire. And everybody's fighting for that. That's what it comes down to. All of those empires have not gone away. They may have been defeated, but their desires to be back in control have not gone away. And that's going to how God's going to use the players on the chessboard. Okay, pawns have died along the way. Maybe some rooks, but the main players are still out there, and they're fighting to get to the king and the queen, and they're going to do whatever they can. And God's watching it. He's still on the throne. So if you want to be on the winning side, there's one way, and it's Jesus. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through him. And but have your popcorn ready, because it might get exciting. And I do believe we can see the blood moon over North America. Don't quote me on that. But we're living in interesting biblical times. If people say, boy, I wish I lived in biblical times. Well, we are. And the way that I look at it is, he saves the best for last. He did that at the wedding, right, with the wine. And they commented that, well, usually at a wine, the best wine comes out first. And then when everybody's drunk, then they bring out the cheap. And you brought out the best of the best at the end. And I think that's also what's true now. Does that make us perfect or good? No, only through Jesus. We're nothing without him. But the other way I look at it is a relay race, right? You obviously want as strong a runners on your team as possible all the way, but you want your last leg to be your extra strong, because if somebody falls behind in the second or third position, or even the first position, you want that fourth man to be able to pick up the slack and still win. And so that's the burden that's placed on us. And it is kind of a burden, okay? I mean, we're carrying a little extra responsibility and weight. What does that look like? That means that we have to walk in righteousness to the best of our ability, and that means staying close to Christ. And it means that our primary mission has to be to get people on the ark, get them saved, get them to know Jesus. And that's not a religious thing. That's a relationship thing. So, it's like if you have a neighbor on the block that can do good things for everybody else, you want everybody to get to know them. You don't want to use and abuse them, but you want them to have a relationship with them so that if they need help, they go to them as a friend, not a foe. They go to them as somebody that is well known, not a stranger. And they go to them with respect and with kindness and with an open mind and heart. And so that's Jesus. That's the person that you want everybody to know. He likes to give. He wants to give, just like you want to give to your own children. He wants to give to us. But he also wants to know that we're respectful, that we're appreciative, that we're going to use that to praise the Father and to support the kingdom. So he doesn't want it wasted. And, I think we can all relate to that, right? If you have a choice to give to your own child or to another, and you can only give to one, who are you going to give to? You're going to give to your own child. Now, if you can give to both, you probably are. And so, when the rain comes, it rains on everybody. But, the special gifts you give to your own children. And when we follow Jesus, that's what we are. We're children to the Lord. We're family. He adopts us, right? We're grafted into the tree, into the root. And with that comes responsibility. Right now, we're carrying his name. We're his heirs. And with that, we need to carry ourselves like an heir to the royal family, okay, and not abuse it, And so, anyways, I just wanted to share what's happening in the heavens, in the Mideast, in the United States, and how things are kind of gelling together. I still think we're in a 4-year give or take a time of reprise where God's giving us a little extra time to get those last few bodies on the ark. I think, as a country, we did a good job of praying to him. And as it says, if my people who go by my name, which is a church, which are believers, humble themselves and pray, then I will heal their land. And I think we're seeing some healing now. But we can't stop praying. We can't stop working. In fact, quite the opposite. That means we need to really rally together more. And we do that out of gratitude. We do that out of, oh, thank you, Father, for giving us a chance, right? Please, thank you, thank you. And we try and do the best we can to get that last soul, that last body on the ark. And it starts with ourselves. It starts with our home, and then from there. And the best way to do it is just to live in a way that you're the light on the hill, that people look at you and go, wow, something's different about that person. They kind of glow. They're always happy. They're always giving. They're always seeing the positive in things. They're helping others. There's just something about them that no matter how bad things get, they're seeing the truth through the lies. And that will bring more people to God than anything. So, just keep doing what you're doing. I love you all. I wanted to share that with you. Have a very blessed day. And God willing, I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to do spinach and crab crepes over asparagus. And it should be really yummy. And then I hope you enjoyed the pizza. Let me know what you thought of it. And like, share, subscribe. And have a wonderful day. I love y'all. Bye bye.